All right. Well, it's about that time to start. So, first off, it's springtime, so you guys know the drill. Rain, rain, go away. You know the rest of it. Well, at least it's not snowing, right? So, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Webinar Wednesday. My name is Franklin, and I'm the Product App Specialist for Kits and your webinar host. Now, this is where you need to be to learning those tips and tricks and kits to becoming that supercharged power user. Now, in case you have any questions, what you can do is you can submit them in the chat box. That's going to be located in the go-to webinar control panel. Should be on the right side of your screen. And I will take a few minutes at the end of today's webinar to answer them. Now, just as a reminder, our next free training webinar is Thursday, May 9th at 3 p.m., so be sure to attend, especially if you're new to Kits or just need a simple review. Sign up is easy. Just go to our Kits Knowledge Center, and you can click on the resource tab to register for all our webinars. Or you can look out for Julia's email to the Kits community. All right, with that being said, let's get on with today's webinar. So today I'll be showing you how to use Kits to be that ultimate digital resource, not just for creating your projects, but also to learning about the products that you sell. First off, what I like to talk about is how you can integrate Kits into your daily workflow. How does it fit in your style of sales or your presentation style? This is key to understanding how Kits can benefit you. Okay. Now, I don't want to make it sound cliche, but the idea is seeing the benefits of Kits and seeing how those features can help you with your day-to-day or with the projects that you work on. Now, we're also going to take a quick look at syncing, how to manage the content that's available to you, syncing and using manufacturer catalogs and galleries. Also, quickly looking at product and also using the search feature to finding product quickly. And ultimately, we're going to be taking a look at all the different presentation views and also the typicals in the galleries that are available to you. And lastly, how you can actually share item quick sheets, such as creating cut sheets for your clients. All right? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start today's demo. And just so you're aware, I am using the Kits Collaborator on a Windows 10 device today. Let's bring that up. So whenever you start Kits, you start off here in what we call as the project gallery screen. All right. To the very far right, you can see here we have a sync link. If you click on that, that leads you into the catalog subscription screen. Now, this is where you're going to be able to manage the content that's available to you. Now, what's that content? Here you can see on the left-hand side, we have some categories such as the planning typicals. These are the pre-configured planning typical galleries that we've created based on the manufacturers that we have in Kits and also based on the manufacturers that you have access to. Also on the left-hand side is the publisher list with all the different manufacturers that we have available in Kits. Now, selecting a manufacturer is quite easy. All you have to do is click on the manufacturer you wish to download from. And on the right-hand side, you can see all their catalogs refresh. If you're old school like me, you have the catalog codes that you can easily reference. And simply enough, you can see here that under Global US, they've provided me 6 catalogs in which I've already downloaded 2. Okay, select the radio button left of the actual manufacturer catalog, and then click Sync Now to sync that catalog to your device. All right, so once you have access to that device, once you have access to that catalog, when you create a project, under the Add Item menu, you can see all the different manufacturers that you've currently downloaded and that you have access to in Kits, as well as any of the planning typicals that you've also downloaded. All right, so searching for product is quite easy. All right, all you need to do is select the manufacturer you wish to look into, and based on the catalogs that you've downloaded on that vendor, you can see here it'll list. Further drill into that catalog, and you can see the navigational hierarchy create right before your eyes, which, again, there's some familiarity to it because this is the same navigational hierarchy that other platforms such as 2020 or Project Matrix use. Now, when you click into the manufacturer and into the category that you wish to look into, it'll further break down until you get to a point where you can now select from specific product. If you don't choose to select directly from the submenu here, and you click outside on the thumbnail gallery, you can preview all those items in a thumbnail gallery. Now, the reason why this is useful, because what this actually provides is not only a way to view the product itself by looking at descriptions of the actual items, being able to marry typical model ID numbers with the actual graphic itself, understanding exactly what is happening to this product based on the descriptions that you see here. So this is a great way to actually understanding the product and also understanding one, which I always like to mention, is the manufacturer's lingo, because every manufacturer has a different way of describing their items. Now, what I mean by different way, obviously a pedestal is a pedestal, but the way they may describe it in their description here is by maybe short forming it by PED, credenza, CRED. And this is useful to understanding because this will help you when you're looking to search for the products by that manufacturer. All right, so understanding the manufacturer's lingo is quite important to, again, understanding how to quickly locate it in kits. All right, now another useful thing that you can do is you can also click on any one of the images, and what it does is it provides you with a larger image. And again, the reason why this is important to understand, because not only does kits allow you to view the actual items itself, as you can see here, I can actually flick through every single one. And even though there's very minimal changes to the graphic, I do understand there are subtle differences based on the descriptions that I see here. I also get a list price prior to the item being specified. Okay, and you can go on and on and on to exploring that. Now, again, the idea is being able to utilize kits as a learning tool. So one thing that I find, which is definitely helpful, is being able to present some of these ideas to your client, and as well as solutions. So for instance, what I like to get familiar with is searching kits by product or by using the search feature here. So I'm going to go ahead and click reset, and I'm going to start off back in the beginning of the add item menu. Now you can search kits in many different ways. You can search by looking at keywords in the description of the product or the description of the typical. You can look by model number, by model ID or model number, or you can look by typical ID. Okay, these are all the different ways you can search in kits. Now, understanding the search feature in kits is also important. Now, the search feature, at best you could say is a phase one of the search feature that we're trying to create. And at this point, the best way to search or utilize a search is by searching by how the actual description or how the item is phrased in the description, or if the typical ID contains any specific keywords. Okay, this is important to understand because if you just type in random keywords, kits may not be able to locate those because of how they've been phrased. All right, so what does that mean? That means if I'm looking for something like, let's say, mesh back chairs, for instance. Here I'm going to type in mesh back, and hit enter. And you can see here, kits will find any instance of mesh back appearing within the description, model number, or typical ID, okay? And if I scroll through here, you can see, based on the scroll bar, you can see on the side, sorry, let me just move this out of the way. Okay, and you can see by the scroll bar on the side, how many results we have in here. And if I completely use that, you can see all the different manufacturers that may be listed as well. All right, so here we can just take this and just quickly go through. And you can see we start to get into all the different manufacturers. All right, now, again, what Kits is doing is it's using the search feature to search globally in the device based on all the catalogs and manufacturers that I currently have downloaded. all right? Not manufacturers that I have access to or that I've been authorized to sell. Now, the only time kits will search, again, for product is based on the catalogs and the galleries that you've currently have synced or have a subscription to via the catalog subscription screen, all right? So you can see again here, it results in quite a few options. Now, let me just reverse that and say back mesh. Let's see what happens. So again, again, this is a tricky one because you can see here, it's found some instances where there is back and there is mesh together. Okay, so it's important to understand, again, how you phrase the actual search to actually getting your results. All right, so for instance, let's try this again, and let's go for, if we're looking for some lateral storage, I'm going to go ahead and tap in lateral or type in lateral storage, and let's see what our results are. Again, you can see here, it minimizes the results because there's not much that's found in the manufacturer's catalogs or galleries that actually has lateral storage, other than with this particular typical. And if we actually expand it and look at the details, you can see here, it's probably pulled up lateral storage somewhere within the description area. Okay, so that's basically how the search feature works for kits. So understanding exactly how to find the product is going to be key, again, to you using kits efficiently and effectively. Now, that's one way of searching and finding products in kits. Let's take a look at the typicals. So here you can see we have a list of all the different typicals that we have. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and click into one here. Now, before I actually go ahead and select which category I want to look into, you can already see every time I drill into one of these categories, the thumbnails begin to refresh in the back. Those start to indicate the typicals that are available within each category, and that begins to change as you begin to select different topics to look under. So here we're going to look under education. Here we're going to look under classroom. And again, you can see how quickly kits begins to change to showing you that navigation. And the reason why this is, again, important to understand, because this helps you also define what you're trying to look for, okay? And this will also help you define what you're trying to look for when you're using the search feature. All right, so for instance, I'm going to go ahead and clear my results. And this time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and tap in, let's say we're looking for a private office, but more specifically, we're going to look for an executive or a director office, okay? So if I type in private office, okay, in this case, I'm just going to put private and hit enter. You can see what kits begins to do is it populates all the different options I have based on the typicals that I've downloaded in kits that has the word private in the description area or in the keywords that are associated to the typical itself. All right. Now, obviously, that may result in way too many items to look under. So understanding what you want to look for and being able to define that by the keyword is important. And since I'm looking for an executive office, I might want to type in exec. And I do a search, and you can now see again, it changes the results, but it now becomes a little bit more defined. Okay. Now, in this case, you begin to see other items such as catalog items also appear within the search. Well, we can start to define what we're looking for based on the search filters that we have. So here I can click on type, items only, and you can see what it shows me are all items that are found within kits that somewhere in the description area contains EXEC. All right. Now, if I switch that to typicals only, it now shows me only those items that are typicals that have the word executive either in the short summary or in the larger description or keywords of the actual typical set itself. So understanding that is going to be key into you also being able to define your search. Now, we're looking at this as a way to learn product in kits. And we already know that in our industry, especially as a salesperson, product knowledge is key. All right. The better your product knowledge is, the faster and easier it's going to be for you to find things in kits. All right. Now, one thing that I like to also bring out is we may not always be familiar with the products that we're selling. And this is the reason why we need to work on our product knowledge. Now, finding the product through catalog and being able to review that is important as to, again, just being able to recognize the products that are within whichever price guide or collection that we're looking into. But how do we know how these components and pieces get put together? There's not really an instructional guide for anything like this. And really, it's left to the designers to understanding how to fully design and specify the product. Like, we may be able to create specifications based on an order form, but how do the products actually get put together? And because we have kits is a way that we can minimize that waiting time between the client giving us, the confirmation for an order, accelerating that sale by being able to find solutions and show your clients quick solutions. But how do we understand the products that we're working with and how they get put together? Again, I keep asking this question, and the reason why is because there's not much out there, even if with the price guides that you have, that actually show you how the components get put together. So it's important to having a tool such as this, because again, you don't have to have a lot of design acumen or tech acumen to accessing product, all right, and being able to interact with that product. What I mean is, if I go ahead and add one of these offices into the space, again, using kits, I can easily orbit and navigate around the item in my floor. I can select the product. Double-clicking on it allows me to re-specify anything. Even though these all belong to a typical, they're completely editable. So why is this important to product knowledge or to learning about product? The one thing that you can do with kits that you can't do with any other digital resource is start to click on it and start to remove the items from each other. Now I start to see how these typicals are composed and what is required in order to putting them together. All right. Now I'm using something that's fairly easy, which is a case good type of layout here. When you start to get into items that have maybe a spine-based system, maybe has some panels attached to it, it's key to understanding the trim, the components that are required to putting that all together. All right. Now, we're not expecting everyone to become a designer on this, and in fact, it's not a design tool. It's not even a specification tool. It's a sales acceleration tool. So understanding the products that you're selling and knowing how they get put together is going to help you in the long run when you have to sit in front of your client, or if you're sitting in front of your client. Sometimes we may not be. But this allows you to, again, I'm not saying to circumvent around design. It's being able to find a solution for your client quickly without that wait time. And that's going to be key to servicing your clients, again, efficiently, and giving them the confidence to understanding that you're the right salesperson for them to have. All right. So again, based on the typicals and galleries that you have available to you, my suggestion is start to go around and play around with these and bring up different types of typicals that may be a little bit more difficult. In fact, here we'll restart the search. And if I go back into global, let's go into workplace. We'll go into offices and workstations. Offices, let's say laminates. And let's see what we can bring in terms of some of the laminates here. Okay, maybe we can actually find something else. Let's go workstations. Much better. Okay, so here again we have examples of benching and all the different things that are involved in actually putting these items together, which you may not be aware of. All right, there could be different legs. There could be different, for instance, if the workstation or work surface is wide, there could be under supports that, again, you may not be aware that are necessary for this typical to be created. So here, if we bring this in, again, you can see the unit, but most importantly, we can begin to separate all the items to seeing what's involved. So here you can see the legs, and it looks like, again, this is based on height adjustable different tables. I can see that there's a seat cushion that's on this mobile pedestal. But this just, in the long run, helps you understand how these items are all put together. Here we have a top part of the actual base that's being used here for the spine on this bench. Here's the base. And again, you can see the different panels that are required to be placed on top. All right, so take advantage of that, because again, there's not many places or not many tools that are available for the salesperson that you can actually use to start, again, exploring all the different typicals and all the different products that are available for you to sell. All right. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and remove all these items. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is also using kits as a way to being able to compare different products that are available to you. All right. So again, this relies on product knowledge and understanding how to find the actual products. All right. So I'm going to start off with a chair, and let's go ahead and do reset. And now I'm going to go ahead and type in. Let's bring in a Han chair. Okay. So here we have a nucleus chair. I'm going to go ahead and add it to my scene, but first off, I'm going to go ahead and specify it. Now for Han is a different manufacturer that allows what we call is structural options or visual options to be used in kits. Okay, so what I mean by that is here you can see the arm type, we have a graphic. Now if I select the first one, you can begin to see how the graphic changes. Okay. Now the reason why the graphic changes is because there are rules that are set to changing the graphic based on the specification that's created. So if we want a chair that has no arms, or if we want a chair that has adjustable arms, based on what we're selecting here in the specification is going to change what we see. Let's continue. As we start to drill further into the specification, you can now see how the graphic starts to repopulate. Okay. Here, let's go with a grade 4 upholstery. Go with a blue. And let's go next. Let's go with the black base. And done. Okay. The product's been specified. I've now added it to my space. Now, again, if you're new to kits, if you need to change anything, you can simply go into the actual product itself by double-clicking on the item, selecting the option that you wish to change. You don't have to actually follow the specification structure. Once you've selected that change, you can go ahead and close, and again, it automatically applies. Okay. Now, I want to search for some counterpart chairs. So basically, chairs that are available from other manufacturers that are going to be similar in style, similar in let's say, maybe at a range of pricing. But most of all, we're after similar in style. This way, we can do somewhat of a comparison between chair to chair. And what I know of the nucleus chair here, based on what I see, is that, again, it's a mid-back work chair. And then based on the selections that I've had, that I created here, I do know that I have some customization. Okay, so I want to search for similar chairs. Now, I'm going to take a look at the different features that are already in the first chair that I brought in. So one of them that stands out is the mesh back. And you'll see that this is going to be very common for you to use in terms of defining a search for chairs. I mean, nowadays, you can see that a lot of these chairs have these mesh backs. Again, it provides a better breathing point, especially if you're sitting in long periods of times. It actually creates a more lightweight chair. So these are all different things that, again, advantages of using a mesh back. So I'm going to go ahead and type in mesh back. Okay, and I'm going to do a quick search. Again, what Kits does is it begins to search globally against all the catalogs that I currently have subscribed to on my device. Now, this also includes any typicals, as you can see here. So I want to predefine this to looking at catalog items only. Now, I have a search price filter. So I'm going to filter this to looking for items that are roughly around the 1,000 to 2,000 price point. Again, it starts to minimize my results. So now what I want to do is I want to predefine that by saying, okay, based on these filters that I have and this keyword search that I'm doing, I want to look at national product only. So once I click on the catalog, before I even click on anything else, I can see how that now results in a limited result for me. And I can now go through all the different products that I have here based on the descriptions. Okay, so here I know that the Lavoro chair, now this one is a high mesh back. Okay, so the difference is the other one is a mid back. But we have a high mesh back here that again has adjustable arms, seat slide, and an aluminum base. So let's go ahead and bring this in. Okay, and again, you can see that the specification structure is quite different from manufacturer to manufacturer. In fact, the description here is already telling me the key options that are already included in this chair. All right, so not all manufacturers are going to allow you to fully specify the chair itself. It will provide a model number that already is consistent with the options that you are looking for. All right, so again, this is with national. Every manufacturer is different. We'll stick to the same grade level as a grade 4. We'll go with a blue. And let's go ahead and bring a blue that's similar to what we have in the space. And done. And now let's add this item. Now, even looking at the chair itself, and again, these are the predefined scales that are required for each manufacturer to create for us in the DWG, so that the product is, it reflects what the product would look like in real life. And you can see here, even though this is defined as a high back, it's quite very similar to the mid back that we have here. All right. So that now we have Han, we have national. Let's go ahead and bring in one more manufacturer. And so let's reset that filter. And this time, let's go ahead and find something from global. Okay. Now again here, selecting just global, again, gives me a larger result. But what I can do is if I really need to define exactly what I'm looking for, and maybe I'm familiar with some of the global chairs that I want to compare it to, then what I can do is I can further drill down into the categories until I get to where I want it to be. So here, now that I'm looking for a task chair, I can see that the results are minimal. Okay, and I have a few options here. If I want to stick to just G20s, then I can simply go ahead and select G20 and I can get the results. So now I have 8 items based on the criteria that I have preset at the top. Mesh back, pricing between $1,000 to $2,000, provides me with these options. Again, you can see here, global already predefines the specification of the item. This one looks to be similar to what we have. Let's go ahead and add it to the scene. I go with the grade 4 again, blue. And now let's just click on one of these to add a similar color. And now I'm just going to simply stick with all standard options. And there we go. All right. So again, understanding the manufacturer also means possibly understanding how the items are going to be specified. All right. The reason why this is important is because if I'm just simply looking at the catalog and looking at the price list that's available per item, I may not understand that based on the options that I'm selecting here, that the value of this is going to change. All right. Now let's bring in that global chair. And now you can see we have three very comparable products. All right. Now, the reason why this is important is because if I'm looking to specify products to my manufacturer, or to the client that I'm working with, based on the manufacturers that I've selected, we already know and understand that uh, blended solutions always happen because, hey, projects are always under budget, and you have to meet that budget. And so what this allows you to do is it allows you to do a comparison. Now in list view, I can see again, based on the global share that I have, all the specifications, and I can see the extended value. Under HAN, again, I have the specifications, and I have the extended value. National, same idea. There's the description of the item and the specifications. And I can do almost an apples to apples comparison simply by looking at the actual list view. All right. So again, not searching for the product is going to be key. So understanding exactly what you're looking for is going to help you determine something like this. It may not work if you're looking simply at a case good. Obviously, I mean, how many times are we going to compare a mobile pedestal from one manufacturer to the other? It's very unlikely. But seating is important because we already know there's a lot of value added to a seat being sold in a project. All right. Being able to search typicals is also going to be another key way of doing a comparison. Now, we are working on creating faster ways to searching and comparing typicals. We have a keyword search that we're going to introduce to all the manufacturers soon. Okay, so that means we're going to have a standard set of keywords. For instance, for a private office, that's for an executive. A private office, that's for a middle manager. Small meeting space, large meeting space, a conference space, cafe spaces, open collaborative spaces. These are all going to have predefined keywords so that when I type in one specific keyword, it's going to be able to search everything that I have available to me, all right, based on what I've currently subscribed. And just as I showed you here, where I showed you searching for an executive private office, I put exec. Well, kits will now turn to look at every single instance of exec based on every single typical that is subscribed to. All right, so those are keywords that we're going to be introducing soon to the search featuring kits. All right, so in this case here, again, searching for the product like chairs is important to understanding, again, accessing the manufacturer, understanding how they describe their items, how their items are specified, because again, you can see here, for instance, with global, we have almost complete options that are selected, and the specifications that are required are minimal, considering and based on just being able to specify the fabrics, the arm options, the frame color, etc. With HAN, a little bit different. We're specifying the entire unit from arm type, options, back selection, etc. So that's also important to understand. Okay. Now, once you have these items all selected, I can now double click in any one of the lines. If I place my mouse on top of this graphic and click the right mouse button, or if you're on an iPad, if you place your two fingers on this graphic, you can actually move the graphic and rotate it. Now, this is important because you can quickly validate what the graphic looks like, and you can determine whether or not it's one that you want to work with. But most importantly, this allows you to set up the actual graphic based on a cut sheet that you want to create. So here we have Quick Sheet. I'm going to click on Quick Sheet, and what this does is it now places the seat based on the position that I've selected here, and it's now represented in the PDF. So in the PDF, or again, the quick sheet, which is basically an item cut sheet, here's the information I get, description of the item itself, get the model number, I get the pre-configured list price, and indication of any upcharges. Here you can see, because we're in an upgrade value 4, I can see all the options, and there's the final price. On the left-hand side, I have some options here to protect information. So for instance, if I don't want them to know which model number or catalog ID this is from, turn that off. Options and finishes, product details. Now, pricing here is automatically selected so that it can indicate pricing. Now, discount shouldn't be selected, and I think that's a little bug that we've discovered. Okay, in case you've configured the price for the item, it will automatically select the discount, and you'll see that discount applied. In this case, I don't have a discount. I just completely turn it off. Here, I can add any note I want. Okay, here's the global chair we discussed. There it is. I should have my credentials, my dealer logo, as well as the manufacturer logo based on the item that we have in the scene. Okay, I can print that. I can save it. If you're on your Windows 10 device, you'll have to save it locally to a drive, because Windows 10 devices don't have a native email client, such as the Apple has Mail and an email that's associated to the iPad account. So the iPad will automatically populate a quick sheet and allow you to send that out directly through mail using through kits. Whereas on the Windows 10 device, you'll have to save it locally to your device and then populate it as an attachment with whichever email client you prefer to use. All right. So in a nutshell, there's many things that you can do with kits, especially to using it to learn more about product. And what I've shown you here is, again, being able to access the actual catalogs, being able to preview in different presentation views. All right, being able to take in a typical, break it down so that you can understand how the components get put together, ultimately allowing you to creating your own layouts in front of your client. All right, so the important thing here is to understanding how kits is going to work for you. And so whenever you have downtime and you need to, and you want to look at product, then certainly use kits as a basic resource for that. Again, by downloading the catalog that you wish to download, the items that you wish to look into, all right? And then being able to pull in those, again, those typicals, break them apart to understanding. These are all going to be helpful, especially when you're client-facing. Even if you actually take kits and you get, again, you begin to look at all the different products and all the different items that are available to you by the manufacturer. All right, you can actually put them together and create your own set of standards. And what I mean by that is simply enough. Here, if I go into kits, and let's say I'm just going to put some simple left and right desks together. I'm just going to go right into the first options in National, get the desk. Let's go freestanding, single pedestal, rectangular top. Start off with the left. We'll say full pedestal. Let's bring in a 72. Now, before I even close this, I'm just going to go back. This time I'm going to go right side, full pedestal, 72. So now I have my left and right. Let's go all the way back until we get to, let's look for a return. Quarter pedestal, left side. Let's go with a small one here. And now before I even close that, we're going to make sure that we also select the right. Now, why am I doing this? Well, one thing is this is allowing me to piece together items that I may not be familiar with, also allowing me to creating my own sets of standards. What I mean by that is I may not have access to these items as a typical. So I may want to create these different standards for myself. One thing that it's allowing me to do, it's allowing me to understand the products that are available. It's allowing me to understand how they get put together. And then what I can do, here I'm just going to put standard typical, oh, we'll say L shape, typical left. Okay, here's my left. Save, create a duplicate. Let's say right. Oh, and before I save, what I want to do is delete that. And then let's go back into the left here. Let's now delete that. Okay, save. I now have two standards that I can always refer to that are L-shaped desks. Again, you can be a little bit more descriptive in the actual title. But why is this important? I'm looking at the product, I'm playing with it, I'm learning more about it, I'm actually preparing for future projects based on certain solutions that I can provide my client. And now under folder, I'm going to change the folder name, and I'm going to say standard national typicals, so that I always know that these are standard typicals that I can refer to. Oops. And I already know that they're of a national product. All right. All right. Well, that takes us to the end of today's webinar. So again, what you should be taking away is basically product knowledge is key to finding the products and kits quickly and effectively. All right. So using kits to improve your product knowledge by being able to access the products, being able to view them in various ways, such as in the different presentation views, and also as a typical to seeing how they are put together is going to ultimately help you learn how to use the tool quickly and effectively. Okay, this will ultimately help you accelerate that sale. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look to see if there are any questions for me today. Let's just open up the questions here. Okay, and there's a question here, and the question is basically, are there any keyboard mouse combination guides for the Windows 10 device? If you're looking for a keyboard and mouse combination reference guide, then what you can do is simply go to the Kits Knowledge Center. If you were to click on Meet Kits, Kits for Windows 10, scroll all the way to the bottom, and you can see the guide for all keyboard and mouse combinations, okay? Just click on it, it'll populate a PDF, and you can actually save that or print that. All right. Well, that looks to be the only question I got today. So great. So first off, let me just say thank you to everyone for joining. Now, all our webinars are recorded. So in case you're following along and I've kind of sped through and you weren't sure exactly how I got there, then what you can do is you can wait till the actual video is uploaded to our YouTube channel. Julia will certainly send out a reminder letting you know that the video is available. I believe she also provides a quick access link to being able to review that video as well. So you can go through it, and again, you can use it as a reference guide to understanding what we gone through what we have gone through with today's webinar. All right. So again, all you need to do is visit our Knowledge Center or visit our YouTube page to accessing all past recorded webinars. All right. So it looks like that's it for me today, folks. So first off, again, thank you to the KITS community for participating each and every week. Now, don't forget, we're always looking for your submissions to becoming our next KITS collaborator. What's a KITS collaborator, you may ask? Well, a KITS collaborator is what you see here. All your peers from different dealerships and manufacturers that have used KITS in a way that has provided them with a success story. All right. So what we'll do is we'll take your submission and you'll become the next KITS collaborator, where we'll showcase your project in our Knowledge Center. And again, all you have to do is contact us with your success story and experience that you have with KITS. Images such as your selfie, hopefully with KITS in it, or any of the renderings that you created that help accelerate that sale. And again, there's really no strings attached other than what we have in terms of the simple requirements. And what we'll do is we'll reward you with an Amazon gift card of $50. Okay. Again, it's really that easy, and I urge everyone to participate. Hey, it's a quick way to get a $50 Amazon gift card, and who doesn't need that? I have Amazon subscriptions that come monthly to me, so. All right, so don't forget to sign up for our next free basic training webinar. That's going to be on May 9th, so look out for any upcoming news and announcements via email, or you can check at our KITS Knowledge Center for any of those details. All right, well, that's it for me today, folks. Thanks again for attending, and I hope to see you right back here next week for Webinar Wednesday. Bye, everyone.